Yesterday, the third edition of the Amgen Tour of California began with a lightning-fast ride from Palo Alto to the nearby campus of Stanford University. And it included all of the lunacy of a rock concert. Yeah, Mario, we're talking about you. The best time trialists in the world plied their trade. The British duo Miller and Wiggins were fast. The Swiss world champion Fabian Cancellara was faster. But on home soil, this was supposed to be a day for the Americans, with Levi Leipheimer bringing home the spoils for a third straight year. But there will be no storybook ending. Leipheimer could not best the Swiss speed demon, and Cancellara is in yellow today. But this is a day for the rock stars of cycling. Today, the sprinters will show us a different kind of speed. Tom the Tornado Bonin is here, along with former world champion Oscar Freire. But the man to watch may be last year's revelation, JJ Haido. The 2008 Amgen Tour of California hits the open road. Next on Versus. After the great time trial battle of the 2008 Amgen Tour of California Palo Alto, interest now moves to the city of Santa Rosa, the traditional finish of the opening road race stage of this event, the place of plenty indeed. And the big finish will be right here in 3rd Avenue at the end of some 97 miles of racing. Hello everybody, welcome back to our coverage here on Versus of the Amgen Tour of California. Yes, it's a big full day of racing. I'm Phil Liggett, alongside me Paul Showin and Bob Roll. Well, last year this race was dominated pretty much by Levi Leipheimer, the final winner. He lives here in Santa Rosa, and Paul, we saw him finish 4th in the time trial yesterday, but we also seen there are big teams here this year, a great field. He could be in the spot of bother, to say the least.
Well, he could. The important thing about winning a stage race is you have to have a solid team, and I don't think Team Astana is quite as solid as they were last year when they were Team Discovery Channel. And of course, you've got a very strong squad with Team CSC. They've been omnipresent over the last few years in this event. They really want to win this year, and I'm never going to discount a team like Team High Road either, because they've got strength in numbers.
But in Levi's favour, you know, we've announced the fact that Astana not allowed to ride in this year's Tour de France. He's an angry man, and he might well do well this week. But it's not just a tale of the men looking to win the final yellow jersey, which is based on time over the full 8 days of cycling. It's also about the sprinters, the men who will try to grab the stages. Bob, although we expect to see breakaways today because it's pretty hilly on the road outside, we come down to 3 finishing circuits here, and the fast men are going to want their moment, aren't they?
Well, so far in the Amgen Tour of California, we finished here twice. Both have been bunch gallops where the whole field comes together. This course should dictate that a breakaway stays away. I don't think that's going to be the case again today, because there's an extra incentive for the sprinters. They're close enough to the leader's jersey that with the time bonuses, they could conceivably go into the lead of the overall as well as win the stage. Look for a cheeky little rider like Mark Cavendish to do just that. And don't forget about Big Tom Bonin of Team Quickstep. He might be the fastest man in the world right now.
There are so many good sprinters this year, and right over my shoulder here on 3rd Avenue is where they could battle it out today. Remember, the race is based on the shortest time for the full distance, which is just on 650 miles, and there's small time bonuses for the men that win today. We'll have a look now at the overall classification, which is at the end of the time Then at the prologue very briefly yesterday, which all started out with a great performance by the US champion Dave Zabriskie, Bob.
David Zabriskie for Slipstream Chipotle, out on course, the most aerodynamic man in cycling, sporting a new mustache. That's quite sporty, and he would be the first man to go under the magical barrier of 4 minutes. His teammate Tyler Farrar did an absolutely fantastic ride. Very surprising. He took over the lead at 3 minutes 56 seconds. Great riding by the Slipstream team so far in this prologue. Tyler Farrar, he was the leader for most of the rest of the race. Mario Cipollini did a great job as well.
Well, Mario Cipollini making a comeback after retiring in 2005, and everybody wanted to see just how he could perform. Well, 44th place and ahead of riders like Paolo Bettini was not too bad, but everyone waited for the champion of this discipline, Fabian Cancellara. He is the man who knows how to ride an individual time trial like this, and he slammed the field with a winning time of 3 minutes, 51 seconds, and that was phenomenal. Only one man left on the road to beat him was Levi Leipheimer, who's won the prologue, Bob, of this Tour of California for the last 2 years, but this year he couldn't do it.
Not quite. Cipollini, he was a little bit slower than Leipheimer, but Levi, decent time, 6 seconds behind our stage winner and first leader, Fabian Cancellara.
So the yellow jersey on the shoulders of Cancellara, but yesterday, of course, the one man everybody was looking at was here. Levi Leipheimer, unbeaten in the 2 previous years of the Tour of California in the prologue, but then we have to say there was a sharp hill on the course down in San Francisco. So he's got a little bit to do now, and yesterday Mario Holden caught up with him to see just how he's feeling.
Looked like something definitely happened in that last part of the race. Can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, I scared myself a little bit right as at the top of the circle there on the Stanford Circle. I clipped my pedal while I was in the bars, and it was really it was minor, but enough to scare me. I got out of the bars a little bit and tried to regain my speed, but I think maybe it cost me a 3rd or 2nd place, but definitely not the win.
Well, an honest man indeed, but he's going home today to Santa Rosa. It's a long road too, some 97 miles as we head away from Sausalito. We've crossed over the Golden Gate Bridge down in San Francisco. This really is a wonderful stage, as we head up now to the finish in Santa Rosa. There's some stage facts for you. 3 intermediate sprints. They carry small time bonuses, 3, 2 and 1 second. And then we join the finishing circuit, just under 3 miles for each of them. We had Graham Brown win here 2 years ago, last year rather. JJ Haedo was the winner back in 2006. Paul, there's some great sprinters in this event, aren't there?
Well, I think this has got more sprinters than we've ever seen in the Amgen Tour of California, and these are the men who really battle on the finishing line. One man we're looking for today is Big Tom Bonen in the green jersey there, the winner of the most consistent rider on the individual stages in the Tour de France last year. But, Bob, you have to also count on Oscar Freire because he's pretty wily.
Absolutely wily. Oscar Freire, he seems to come out of nowhere time and time again. Incredibly successful pro.
Well, I tell you what, when you look at the man on the left-hand side there, Mario Cipollini, they used to call him Super Mario Cipollini. I wonder if he's going to be back, but he's going to have to try and outfox this man, JJ Haedo. He's won 2 stages at both of the first editions of the Amgen Tour of California.
Yes, and they're all racing for their own Herbalife sprint jersey here as well. This is how it's scored. 5 points, 3 points and 1 point for the first 3 paces out on the intermediate sprints. For the big finish, it's 15 for the win, 12 and 10. Man with the highest points gets to wear the green jersey on the following day. Points awarded through to 10th place on the stage finish. And this is the start in Sausalito. The riders coming from the Palo Alto hotels. A drive of 45 miles to the race start, all 132. The man in yellow and the hot seat, the world time trial champion Fabian Cancellara. In the green jersey of Herbalife there, Paul, that's Bradley Wiggins, who was second yesterday.
I think what we need to note that this is one of the greatest fields I think ever assembled in the roads of North America, because this is going to be a great ride. It's going to be very difficult as well to control the race because there are so many different teams, I think, Bob, with lots of agendas.
Lots of agendas, and the time gap's very close after such a short prologue time trial of just over 2 miles. So it's anybody's ball game when we get to the finish line, considering the time bonuses. There's Victor Hugo Peña, the teammate of Mario Cipollini, and Bobby Julich from Team CSC. They have the race lead and need to defend it for that man. Fabian Cancellara out on the open roads. Look for CSC to continue to do the tempo.
Well, they're going to have to control the race when we get down towards the finish, Phil, because there is a very nasty climb of Coleman Valley, and I can see the race actually starting to split up there, but they will, I think, try and keep it together and all come down to the finishing line in Santa Rosa as one bunch.
Yes, well, the climb, 827 feet. That's the high spot of the tour. Rejoin us very shortly because stage one of the Amgen Tour of California is now underway. See you in a moment. This is the beautiful area around Sausalito, just beneath the Golden Gate Bridge, where the riders have made their start for a third year in succession, now heading towards Santa Rosa. Rejoining the action here now, Paul, out on the highway. And it looks as though the rider on the left there is preparing to attack. He's gone.
Well, it's an ideal course for attacks early on here because it's very undulating, lots of twists and turns, and all it takes sometimes for a rider to get off the front is somebody like this young man here lighting the blue touch paper.
And that's Justin Spinelli who's made a move. Well, let's just go back to Bob Roll here, who's now going to tell us the key to the race today, Bob.
Today's key to the race is staying at the front when the 20 riders in the front rotate around the very dangerous finishing circuit in Santa Rosa. You have to avoid the crashes on the circuits that are inevitable in order to have a chance to win the Tour of California.
All right, well, that's where we're bound for, those three finishing circuits. But Spinelli's got a little bit of help here now. That's Victor Hugo Peña, former yellow jersey of the Tour de France, in the black of Rock Racing. And right up behind him now is Jackson Stewart. So three riders trying to get clear at the moment.
It's a good move because I don't think any of those riders are very dangerous. If you look at the overall chance of winning the Amgen Tour of California, Jackson Stewart now has found himself completely on his own. So for him, he's going to try and open up a very smart gap.
Well, while he builds a lead, let me remind you that our coverage will continue tomorrow right here on Versus with the Amgen Tour of California. The time will 11 p.m. Eastern time, and that, of course, is 8 p.m. Pacific timing. That's the Amgen Tour of California as we continue with the third day of this great bike race. Well, we're down in Santa Rosa here at the moment. No, we're not. We're back out in Point Reyes here because this is Jackson Stewart. He's got a lead, we've estimated, at 12.5 minutes, Bob. That line on the road indicates the first sprint point. So he's picked up a 3-second time bonus. He started the day 21 seconds behind overall. So he's closed up to within 18 seconds now of Cancellara, but of course he's also got the real-time gap of nearly 13 minutes. All right, well, he makes his way around a rather badly parked car there. We can take a quick journey downtown now because here we are on the circuit the riders will come into shortly. The women's criterium, and this in support of breast cancer, Bob.
The Redwood Regional Center for Breast Cancer is the beneficiary of this criterium that the women are coursing around, a technical course, the same that the men will face when they finish up their stage to Santa Rosa. A pretty good field assembled. Laura Van Gilder from Cheerwine and the Tibco rider, Brooke Miller. Same course out there that the men, very technical, lots of twists and turns, and the High Road women's team also participating in this criterium.
Well, this is a very, very good attacking race then. If you can hear the bells down there, that's because there's about 10,000 of them been distributed by the city of Santa Rosa. So the girls heard the right one as they sprinted towards the line. In red there, Laura Van Gilder, a very fast finisher. Looked as though she was about to win, but then up on the outside came Brooke Miller of the Tibco team to steal it on the line. And Van Gilder of Cheerwine was second. And Mila Farlin of Sweden and Team High Road, she got third. Right, back out onto the highway. We're coming up now to the second place sprint here at Point Race, and that man on the front is the champion time trialist of Norway, Edvald Boysen Hagen. His objective now is to try and lead out Mark Cavendish for the sprint, but the party might be spoiled by a dive for the corner that's coming up by Freddie Rodriguez. He's going to brake hard and come out. He'll see the line now. This is rather spoiling the fun for Cavendish, or is it? Because Cavendish has jumped onto the back wheel of Rodriguez, and Cavendish, this young sprinter from Great Britain, gets the 2-second time bonus. So Freddie Rodriguez for Rock Racing will get 1 second, and that's helped close the gap for Mark Cavendish there now. He started the day 8 seconds behind. He's now only 6 seconds behind the jersey of Fabian Cancellara. But still out on his own, way up the road, is Stuart Jackson. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Amgen Tour of California. The lone leader now, Jackson Stewart, is approaching the 44 miles point. This is the Herbalife Tamala sprint. Another 3 seconds time bonus in the bank for this man. He's won 6 in all now. He's still ploughing a lonely trail because he still has a lead of more than 10 minutes. Let's look back though to yesterday and the Health Net move of the day. And it was, of course, the fabulous Cancellara, yes, because the world time trial champion was out on his own. He turned in the best time of 3 minutes and 51 seconds for the course, and it really was a terrific ride by this man. He specializes in these lone races against the watch, and that's why he's in the yellow jersey today.
Play our card that we have in our team. I think this is the only thing that we can do, and to see really afterwards what's going to happen. I think it's going to be hard. I think we go in the hometown from Levi, and he already told me he liked to be in yellow, but I think our team wants to be still in yellow after the stage, and we try everything, and we will see.
Well, the main field is certainly taking a very serious interest in the second sprint of the day, and as you can see there in second place there is Mark Cavendish. He really wants to get himself a couple more time bonus seconds here to try and get himself the yellow jersey by the end of the day.
But he was led out there by Gerald Cholik of Team High Road, and so Cavendish gets another 2 seconds, but Tyler Farrar had a great 1 second bonus there in third place, so that's a good result for him. And don't forget, the uphill climbs will soon begin in this race, but the second half of the NHL season is already on. Tomorrow night, 2 teams fighting for their playoff lives hit the ice in St. Louis when the Blues play host to the Blackhawks. March the 3rd, the hottest player on ice, goal-getter Alex Ovechkin. He leads the Capitals up against the Boston Bruins. All on versus, of course. Back out to the action now in the Tour of California. As we move up the road to 59 miles covered now. Bodega Bay, well, they're closing in slightly, but it's still 10 minutes here for the lone leader, Jackson Stewart. Another 3 seconds for him.
Well, he's just got himself maximum points there and 3 seconds time bonus, but I have to say, Phil, just a little bit later on, he's going to have to take a severe right turn and go up a very nasty climb.
Well, while we wait for the peloton to arrive at that sprint point, let's go back to the start early today, the Herbalife Autograph Alley. This is an innovation in the race this year. All of the riders have to walk down the alley before they sign on for the race. The world champion Paolo Bettini giving the crowd his autograph. That's one for the books too, as the world champion on his second visit to the Tour of California. And look at him, that's Mario Cipollini. He's on his first visit, coming back to racing at 40 years of age. Incredible.
Thank you.
Now, this is the moment we're waiting for, because we're now taking the peloton through to Bodega Bay. 59 miles covered, and look at this. Now, this is how you do it, Bob. When you're the British road race champion, as David Miller is, you lead your teammate Tyler Farrar to the money.
Well, they didn't give the sprinters much of a chance here. They reacted before the sprint, and David Miller leading Tyler Farrar out. Tyler Farrar will get another couple of seconds. That puts him very close to Fabian Cancellara. Tyler Farrar did a great prologue time trial on yesterday's stage, and now he'll just roll through. David Miller, a little bit of a surprise there for the 2 riders from Slipstream. They will get the time bonuses behind Jackson Stewart.
Well, you can throw a blanket over the leaders of the Tour right now, but Fabian Cancellara is still basically in yellow, but of course, in theory, on the road, it is Jackson Stewart with a lead of 10 minutes and 25 seconds. He is the rider who is currently the overall leader on the road, but he's got to have an advantage by the time he gets to the finish in Santa Rosa. The climb is to come. We'll go to the dizzy height of 800 feet. Welcome back, and working his way up the climb to the high point of the day, which is at 827 feet, 65 miles hill when he gets there, is Jackson Stewart, Paul. He's won all of the sprint prizes along the road, and now he's going to help himself to the Californian Tourism first counting climb in the King of the Mountains.
It's a tough way to get yourself maximum points, and this man's body right now must be crying out for a little bit of mercy, because he's been at the front of this race since about the 15th kilometre, the 10th mile of the race. He built up a massive advantage, but Bob, I have to say, a little bit further down the mountain, the main field now are starting to get just that little bit excited about this race.
Well, a very, very narrow road and a pretty steep climb, and there's that hard right-hand corner off of the Pacific Coast Highway and straight up the climb. Jackson Stewart doing a great job in the front, and that's a very nice escape for Team BMC, a tremendous amount of publicity for his squad. But there's the peloton as they begin the climb here, the one and only climb of the day, so Jackson Stewart will be king of the mountain at the end of the stage.
Somebody stopped in the middle of the road there. This is always the reason, as Bob said a bit earlier on, you've got to ride in the first 20, especially at points like this. This is where it's very important to be in the first 15 to 20 to make sure you avoid any mechanical incidents, any crashes, or anything that happens to a rider in front of you. And that's why we saw all of the big names, Paolo Bettini, Levi Leipheimer, moving to the front and battling for that corner.
Well, since Jackson Stewart got onto this climb, he went on to the base of the climb with a lead of just on 10.5 minutes. It's come down now to 9.5, and that bright yellow leader's jersey of Fabian Cancellara is right on the front of the peloton now. It's easy to pick out, but there are other riders moving up, riders who believe they can climb. And even the world champion, Paolo Bettini, who sat at the back of this field all day, has also now moved up near the front in the rainbow stripes of the only man that can wear that jersey, which is as the current world champion. There's the head of the peloton. Cancellara is off to the right as they start the climb.
Tom Boonen sitting in the middle there. He wants to make sure he gets his big Belgian body over the top of that mountain and not too far away from him. You could also see riding at the front end of the main field, Levi Leipheimer. He realizes how important this is. It doesn't appear that there's an awful lot of wind, and I think that's the most difficult thing about this climb, isn't it, Bob? Once you get over the top, it's such an open climb. If it's a big windy day, it really can split the field in the space of 500 meters.
Almost definitely. It's exposed at the top. There's a lot of vegetation at the bottom, but over the hills before the long descent towards Santa Rosa, there definitely is a chance for the crosswinds to work, but there don't seem to be a factor so far today.
There's a beautiful view here of the climb of the Coleman Valley as it takes us now, as I say, up to 827 feet. It's not by cycling standards, by this level of cycling standards, Bob, a tough climb, but of course don't forget, this is a view from our rock racing cam, by the way. Somebody like Jackson Stewart is getting very, very tired now. Well, Tyler Farrar has tried to break into the action today in the sprints. As we've seen, he's picked up 3 seconds in bonuses. He could be the next man in yellow if it works out well for him down in the finish in Santa Rosa. Still a way to go, though, and there's still one man they've got to really nail back right now. And are they catching him quick enough? We're about to pass through 65 miles covered of the Schedule 97, while up the road by the best part of 9 minutes, which means that he's probably still 4 miles ahead of the field, is Jackson Stewart.
Bobby Julich riding prominently at the front end of the main field in about 3rd or 4th position, using all of the knowledge that he's gained as a professional cyclist. He's been around for an awful long time, and he knows, Bob, doesn't he, climbs like this. He knows where to position himself to make sure that he doesn't get caught out by any sudden accelerations.
That's some of the technical aspects that you have to pay attention to. You have to position yourself perfectly, not just on the climbs, but at the start of the climb. So that means following the wheels as the big lead-outs before the climbs begin. Sometimes that's the most difficult equation for the GC riders to solve, is proper positioning within the field so you don't have to expend any more energy than is absolutely necessary.
Well, on the left there, wearing number 11, I must say, I'm not sure it's the rushing season, Bob, or he could get himself shot out here, but he's keeping up with the peloton, which gives you some idea. Either this man's a very good athlete, or the field are slowing down. I don't know, but they're taking the pace off him right now as he tries to win the prize at the top. And
well, I think fortunately for him, hunting's closed at the moment, because somebody would certainly like a ride like that.
Hunting season, generally in the fall in North America, so our current elk leader there on the right-hand side of the road should be safe for the day. Maybe some of the riders, though, will have trouble getting around the antlers there.
Well, there's Levi Leipheimer in the dead center, riding home. He knows these roads as good as anybody in the peloton today. He trains around here. As he sees nice smooth pedaling, he's not troubled by these climbs. He can't wait for the middle of the week when we go over Mount Hamilton, or at the weekend when we race into Pasadena over the steep climbs. They're the rides he will try to gain his time on and win this race for a second successive year. But the tempo riding by the strong men at the front is having an effect. The field is cracking here. And as with all non-climbers, and I've got Bob and Paul alongside me, they weren't great climbers, believe me. They are just going to be sensible on the climb, the boys at the back, and try and rejoin on the way down, aren't they?
Well, we saw exactly what Tom Boonen was doing at the start of the climb. The non-climbers will try and ride at the front and then slip back through the main field and hope that they're still in contact by the time they got to the top. And Bob and I used to do that quite a bit.
Yes, we could find our way to the front, at least at the beginning of the climb, and hopefully filter through the peloton and still be tacked on to the end. At the top of the climb, I think that's what Boonen is doing now, but everybody chasing this man, Jackson Stewart from the BMC team. A very good day out on the road for his sponsor. That's the ideal situation. One man in the break, you might as well have it be one of your guys, and he is hovering around a 10-minute advantage, so he'll get all of the intermediate prizes throughout the day, the sprints and the King of the Mountain points.
Well, good tempo riding here, and while you see the vehicle behind, this is the service vehicle which will help him out as his teammate, his BMC team car. A little bit of support here. Jean Long is in there. He's a Belgian rider, formerly part of the organisation of the Tour de France, now looking after Team BMC. And he'll give him words of encouragement. He's going well, to say the least, right now.
Well, let's not be too derogatory about Tom Boonen, because he's pretty much near the front end of the main field still. There is Levi Leipheimer. All of these guys now are looking over their shoulders to see what sort of damage is being done behind. And I think that's an indication, Bob, that these guys are now starting to hurt a fraction.
Hurting a little bit. I thought I saw a little brief glimpse there on the right-hand side of your screen of Fabian Cancellara about 15 or 20 riders back. So Cancellara not having too much trouble on the climb so far.
Watch out for big George Hincapie as well over on the left-hand side. Now here's a little move coming by Quick Step.
And this is for the points at the top here, and it might be Grabowski of Quick Step who's gone clear here. It was all set up for him. Remember the points scored over the top in the King of the Mountains competition. Jackson today has won all of the major points with first place, but the second place points means you live to fight another day. Well clear of the field here. Looks like Jens Voigt is trying to nail him in third place, and then I think it possibly was Chris Horner went over in fourth. That's the top of the Californian Tourism King of the Mountain. Remember that Jackson Stewart has gone over the top here with a lead of around 9 minutes, and he's now passed through the 65-mile point. The full distance is 97 miles today. There he is. He's won all of the prizes along the way to the finish. The big question now is, though, can he win the big one at the finishing line? Because if he does, he'll be the next leader of the Tour de California. We'll see in a moment. Welcome back. The opening road race stage of the Amgen Tour of California. All day it has been just one man out front, the American rider who comes from Los Gatos in California, and that is Jackson Stewart. But the inevitability of the day, I think, Paul, is coming down to the catch now. There it is. They've shut it down. They've turned very serious all of a sudden. It's not the complete field, though, who's bringing him back.
Well, it isn't. There's a couple of groups of riders actually tailed off the back because of the severity of the climb, but this man has been the lone hero of the day so far. Got his name in the newspapers tomorrow, I should think, Bob. Got himself as well at the end of the day the King of the Mountains jersey, but I think he's also got himself a couple of pair of sore legs.
Oh, absolutely sore legs, but great ride for the BMC squad and that man, Jackson Stewart.
Well, they're settling down now to get on with the racing. There are about 70 riders in this peloton as we head now to Santa Rosa. And let's remind ourselves what happened when they arrived in the street of Santa Rosa just 1 year ago. Take a look at this, Bob.
Absolute pandemonium there. The circuit's very dangerous, and you see this huge pileup. Just about 20 riders back from the front, taking out the race leader, Levi Leipheimer.
Yes, that's what happened 1 year ago. I wonder what's going to happen this time. We'll come under the same banner. And now it's 2008 and a splintered field is heading into town. I reckon, Bob, maybe 50, 55 riders in this leading group as we look from the Rock Racing camp.
The helicopter shots brought to us by Rock Racing, and there's a very select group at the front of the peloton. A couple of groups chasing behind, but we don't have, like you said, Phil, more than 60 riders in this front group. 3 circuits before the finish, but Tom Boonen must certainly be there. And there he is right in the middle of your screen behind Paolo Bettini and his teammates on the front doing the tempo. A very small group at the front.
Well, Bradley Wiggins is there. The world champion Paolo Bettini is there. Fabian Cancellara is there. We're not so sure whether Mark Cavendish is here, the man most likely to. Tyler Ferrari is there. And Paul, if Tyler takes it out, then he'll have a yellow jersey as well.
Everybody will be trying to calculate just exactly where they have to finish, but Tyler Farrar and, of course, Mark Cavendish have to finish inside of the top 3 on the stage if they want to dethrone Fabian Cancellara. And he's actually sitting right at the back end of the main field, and that's a pretty dangerous place to sit But watch out for Cancellara because he's a very clever bike rider. Let's not forget he won himself a stage at the Tour de France last year while he was wearing the yellow jersey.
What a thrilling stage that was into Compiègne. To see the yellow jersey winning a big brunch sprint was quite impressive. Let's see if Cancellara can do something like that. He might need to, considering the time bonuses for offer on the line.
All right, well, the circuit is 2.9 miles. Let's go down and just listen to how Jeff Rogue and Dave Toll are bringing the crowd to their feet.
Live on courses as we get ready for the final 3 circuits here in Santa Rosa. What an amazing day it's been. It's all come down to this. A group of 60 being led by the Quick Step team looking to set up Tomica Bonin.
Phoenix Sports Technology telling us we're 1 minute 12 seconds into the first of 3 laps. Levi Leipheimer was poised in his Stars and Stripes jersey right at the front with the Quick Step riders.
Yes, well done, Jeff and Dave. They'll continue to bring the crowd to the boil now as the riders turn on the style. They're facing 3 circuits here at the centre of Santa Rosa, and then the big sprint for the line. Team High Road, Paul, have got the front of the group here, which is an indication to me that Gerard Cholik and Mark Cavendish should be in the group.
Well, it could very well be they got caught out in the crossfire. It was a very rapid charge into town, and they're looking to make up, I think, Bob, around about 1 minute and 15 seconds. That is a tall order, especially on a finishing circuit like this.
Very tall order. A big chase being put in now by the High Road squad to get their sprinters back in position. But meanwhile, at the front, no waiting, and that is Quick Step all over the front, doing the big lead out for Bonin, who is certainly in the front group, and he's made the juncture.
But the team for me today, Bob, in this chase down has been Slipstream Chipotle, because that's the rider on the front. It could be Danny Pate again doing a lot of work, but they are doing tremendously well. Well, let's just remind ourselves as Bob keys to the race, Bob, it's all down to the tactics now.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to stay in the front, especially if there's a split. If you're a GC guy, you've already lost a minute and you're doing a desperate chase, you might never see the front again. Your GC hopes are over with. We hope that Levi Leipheimer is in there. He should have been paying attention and done his job, stayed in the front group.
Well, we're downtown Santa Rosa. The sun has come out absolutely on cue. As we're looking now at the riders here being wound up, can they deliver Tyler Farrar to the line and give him a yellow jersey? It's going to be a big finish. We're back with the Tour of California. We're in the streets of Santa Rosa. The riders now, and it's the Quick Step team of Tom Bonin trying to guide him to the finish. We are still, Paul, 2 laps to go.
2 laps of around about 3 miles, and that's going to take the riders about 6 minutes to go around here. There's a huge crowd at the finish line here in Santa Rosa, but you can see Team Quick-Step are all over the front end of the main field, but not very far away is the yellow jersey of Fabian Cancellara. He will try and make sure that he can get himself into the top 3 and stay in yellow tonight.
Well, there is the yellow jersey of Fabian Cancellara right at the sharp end of this group of riders here. It's taken the group 6 minutes to cover 3 miles. Well, even I know that's 30 miles an hour, and that we believe there are some sprinters caught in a rear group that is not going to contact this group right now. And so Tom Bonin's white jersey Quick Step riders here are working very hard at the front. There are some big sprinters here, that is for sure. Apart from Bonin, we know that JJ Haido is here. We think Oscar Freire is here. And possibly Hausler too of Gerolstein and Ivan Dominguez of Toyota United. They're the men we should be looking out for.
Tyler Farrar should be in there as well for Slipstream. He's pulled himself closer to the yellow jersey of Fabian Cancellara, so we're going to see an absolutely furious battle for Cancellara. He is a pretty handy sprinter himself, but look at that long, thin line of riders in Indian file. You know the heat is on when they're racing like that.
Bob, I've got to say, for Tyler Farrar, he's moved himself to just 2 seconds down in the overall classification. If I was him right now, I would lock myself onto the wheel of Tom Bonin, because I think Tom Bonin is looking for a big victory on American soil.
Yes, I think he'd love it, and he is sprinting well. He's just come from the Tour de Qatar in Saudi Arabia area, and that is where he's been winning stages there as well. Now, let me remind you, there's 10 seconds for the first rider to hit the finishing line today, 6 for second and 4 seconds for third. And if Tyler Farrar even finishes third and Cancellara is not in front of him in that sprint, he will pull on the yellow jersey tomorrow. And for the new boy on the block, the Slipstream, that would be a terrific achievement. But I have to say the whole Slipstream team have ridden superbly today, Bob.
They did a great prologue yesterday. They're primed for this race, one of the biggest races for their whole calendar, and they are racing really well. Here's the second group now coming through, and that is a long ways back. They are losing time. They are not gaining back. So maybe giving up the ghost on today's stage for this group of riders. That looks like Ivan Dominguez, so he has not made the juncture.
Yeah, I reckon you're right there. And Mark Cavendish is in that group, right on the tail of it, Paul. So he missed out on the climb, and he's out of the sprint today because they'll live to fight another day. There's the long line of the main pack, and it's from this pack that the winner will come at the end of the stage. And here they come now. This time it's the bell before they complete the final circuit, and some sprinters are here. We know that Mark Cavendish is not here. Freddie Rodriguez is here for Rock Racing. So too is JJ Haido, the winner here 2 years ago. Tyler Farrar is there. Paul, this is going to be one big sprint.
This is going to be a royal sprint. They're trying to set up for Tom Boonen, but all of the other sprinters in this race, apart from the guys who've missed out, are lining up onto the slipstream of Tom Boonen and his team, who are setting a remarkable pace. I saw in the front of the main field as well, George Hincapie. Levi Leipheimer is there. He won't mix it when it comes down to the sprint, but it indicates that he is paying attention on today's stage. These are the moments when you dare not touch your brake. You touch your brakes at a moment like this and you go slipping back down through the main field, losing 15 or 20 places. Then you've got to battle your way forward again.
Now the timing is done that all of the riders who finish alongside each other are given the same time for the course of the day. So it's only the bonuses that will give a different time, and only the first three riders get those time bonuses. And if Tyler Farrar gets one of the three bonuses, then he will take the lead because he's only 2 seconds behind the yellow jersey of Fabian Cancellara. Normally, Paul, Cancellara isn't a good sprint. Somebody's attacked.
Well, that's a move that everybody looks for on the running down towards the finish line. It looks like a rider from Team High Road who's got himself up the front end of the main field. As we look down there, no, it's probably BMC who've looked for the move over the front of the sprinters. You cannot rattle the sprinters when they make a move like that. They will stay together, they'll stay organized and try and pull this man back into the fold.
Well, for the moment, I was wondering if it was Jackson Stewart again, Paul, but I can't believe it's more likely to be Jeff Lauder, this of Team BSC, who's made a move off the front. It's the opportunist move. It's the one the sprinters get very annoyed about because they're trying to compose themselves and work out the finish. Then somebody puts in a flyer like this. And Team BSC have had a wonderful day today with Jackson Stewart, the leader of the race and the king of the mountains, the most aggressive rider of the day as well. This is a move that's caused a reaction, though. They're bringing him back.
Well, it's easy to make the move, but it's a lot more difficult to sustain it. He got himself a gap of 15 or 20 bicycle lengths, but all of a sudden he realizes 60 kilometers an hour, 40 miles an hour is not an awful lot of fun. In fact, the man who got clear there was Alexander Moos, and he's a former national champion of Switzerland, but he's back in the main field. The main field now under the control of Team CSC, and they're looking for that man fourth in the line there, JJ Haedo. He knows this finish line very well because he's won here in the past.
He did. He won in 2006. There's the race leader, Fabian Cancellara. He's not unknown to win from the head of a big bunch like this, although we talk him as being the top time trial rider, alone against the watch. And the commissaire there watching out of the wind. That's the race referee, just to make sure it's a pure and straight sprint. It's going to be a battle between CSC and Quickstep, I think. Boonen versus Haido.
Well, on the right-hand side, I noticed George Hincapie was looking after the other sprinter on Team High Road, and that's Gerard Czolik, a former under-23 champion of the world. But CSC have got themselves a nice little bit of control at the front end of the main field. Freddie Rodriguez in the dark black of Rock Racing is in about 4th or 5th position. He might like to try and look for the surprise, but this is the race now of the daredevils, the men who will take all kinds of risks to stay at the front end of the main field. But you've got to wait and have your nerves of steel and wait till the very last moment before you open up the gas.
Well, the yellow jersey of Fabian Cancellara is up for grabs here. Cancellara knows it. He could do with a first three finish to have any chance of keeping it. The sprinters are snapping at the heels, and apart from Big Tom Boonen peeping in on the left there, the world champion Paolo Bettini is right behind.
Watch out for El Grillo. Jiminy Cricket is his nickname, and he may well try and leap out of the pack. You know, he hasn't come to the Amgen Tour of California just for fun, Phil. He wants to show off the world champion's jersey. But Team Quickstep are getting themselves organised on the left-hand side there in the pale blue and white jerseys. And it was Kevin Holtzman's coming to the front there for Tom Boonen. Now they're taking control again. Look at the way they've moved around the corner. Bettini there up into third place. Bonin in fourth place. I think this afternoon, in fact, Bettini's going to play the teammate and try and get Big Tom Bonin the win.
Well, this looks like Sausalito has got to the front now. They're under the 1 kilometre to go. That's just on half a mile towards the finish here. Quick Step have done everything right so far. They're keeping control. There's the world champion, the only man who can wear the rainbow bands around his racing tunic. And he has got himself third wheel, and driving up here is David Miller. He's looking to put Tyler Farrer into the mix here. Farrer is the man, and that's Farrer just behind the yellow jersey of Cancellara.
Well, it looks as if Tom Bonin's lost the wheel of his teammates here because he slipped back into the middle of that pack, and you can see the chaos at the front end of the main field, but still holding steady in the yellow jersey there in fourth position is Fabian Cancellara. Not worried at all. He's not scared as he swings round here into the left-hand bend. They will very shortly now start to line themselves up for the finish. They're going under the parking lot there. All of a sudden they'll come out, and that's where the finish line will appear to them.
And remember 2 years ago, or last year rather, that was where the crash was. We don't want to see that again now. The world champion has got to the front now as he starts to drive. Cholik is trying to get in from the left of the picture. The world champion Paolo Bettini, is he going to start his season with a bang in Santa Rosa? And I do believe he is. No, it was JJ Haido who got it on the line. He came from absolute nowhere. Haido wins 2 years on from his last victory, and right behind him is Gerard Cholik of Team High Road. Well, that was a big finish for JJ.
Big finish for JJ and a big finish for Team CSC as well, because I didn't see, it was a little bit difficult to see whether or not Farrar got himself up into the top three. He needed to do that if he wanted to take the yellow jersey, but this is a great move there. You can see congratulations coming from Bobby Julik there wearing number 41. There is Fabian Cancellara. Big day out for Team CSC.
Absolutely fabulous day out, and for my money, we've got to wait for the photo, of course, but I think that Cancellara has kept his yellow jersey by the narrowest of margins today. Terrific riding there by Fabian Cancellara, but JJ Haido, the lead out came from the world champion Paolo Bettini, but when they came back into our view, it was JJ who was bang on the front of the peloton, winning at the same finishing line where he won in 2006.
Just looking down there, you can see he gets the win easily ahead of Gerard Cholik, and then coming up there, you can see a rider from Team Gerolsteiner getting himself third place. And at this point already, look at this, Fabian Cancellara knows his team's got the win. Great win for them. Farrar missing out. There's Cholik on the left-hand side. I couldn't quite see who the Gerolsteiner was, but what an easy win there.
Well, I think it's probably Heinrich Hausler, but we are hearing there was a fall in the tunnel, and George Hincapie, there he is coming in, was the fallers in the tunnel, but because of international regulations, crashing in the last kilometre of the day, he gets the same time as all of the riders at the head of the peloton. We'll take a short break, come back and rejoin us. We'll sort everything out and we'll see the presentations. We'll see you in just a moment. And there they are, tens of thousands of spectators in Santa Rosa to welcome home a terrific sprinter today, as we will now see in our Health Net move of the day. JJ Haido from Argentina, the demon really, because he shot ahead of the field and he could have taken time out to look back to see where they were. His whole CSC team celebrates because they have now won the first two stages. That's our Health Net move of the day. Onto the podium now. JJ Haido up here for a fifth time in Tour history. This time he gets the better of two German riders, Gerard Cholik and Heinrich Hausler. And let's see what it's done to the overall standings now as we look forward to tomorrow. The spectators here seeing that Cancellara will keep his yellow jersey, but by only 2 seconds off of Farrar, 4 seconds off Wiggins, Leipheimer there in fourth. Further down, Ben Jacquemain is in 8th place, Van der Velde is in 10th, but George Hincapie, who fell, holds 11th place, 10 seconds off. And then onto the stage, this is the man in yellow, Fabian Cancellara. By just 2 seconds, he gets to wear it for a third day. Let's have a look where he will try and defend it tomorrow as we go over Trinity Grade on a ride of 115 miles heading down to Sacramento. Remember, be with us as we will bring you full coverage at 11 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow here on Versus, which is 8 p.m. Pacific Time. Yes, good race in view tomorrow, but a very flat finish towards the end with 3 circuits of the state capital. So don't forget, be with us. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. For Bob Roll, Paul Show in Philligat saying, so So long, till tomorrow. Goodbye.